Fellas, with Season 3 just around the corner, I thought it'd be a fun thing to do to take a moment and look back at Season 2 and 2.5, just to see if things went well or went bad. What was the good things, what was the lowlights, everything like that. Of course, some of the highlights were getting Emma Frost as the Vanguard, someone who is extraordinarily good and quite literally the best Vanguard in the game at the moment. It may change next season, but right now they are way too strong. I think she came in at just the right time as Strange really got nerfed. He's kind of back to where he once was, a little bit different, but still really good now. And I like that you can ban heroes in ranked play, because that's one of my gripes with a lot of other games that do seasonal updates, like Call of Duty for example. A new weapon comes out and it's massively overtuned, overpowered until next season when it's garbage and no one uses it anymore. Not the case here. And then in 2.5 we had Ultron. I know a lot of people were hyped for him when he was coming out, and then almost immediately it became a either insta ban or almost like a throw pick to some people. Ultron's not bad. He's very offensively. He's just getting tuned down a little bit. I wish they did something more with the ceiling. But right now they're like a better Adam Warlock. And I do think you're fine with having an Ultron and another healer on the team. You don't need to run the 3 comp. I know he does cause a lot of drive for a lot of people. And it was Season 2, I think it was, that we had the support strike. Mostly because they were getting dived. Not a lot of love for the supports, which is kind of fair and kind of unfair at the same time, which in turn caused the season of divers, which isn't that bad, and a lot of people to run Black Panther specifically. And I think that's where the deeper issue stems from, especially in higher ranks. Not talking about quick play at the moment, but in higher ranks. If you're a support player and you can't deal with the dive, you're up way too high. It's not hard to do. Between CC and dive resistant, I don't think any of the supports are anti-dive, but dive resistant, ping-ponging, working with your partner. There is just a lot of support players at the moment who are, I think there's a lot of support players who are, they're not bad, they're just not good. And that encapsulates a lot of these supports. Personally, I do think that the support role is one that is easiest to do okay in, but one of the hardest ones to do very good in. And this season, I think, really brought that to attention for a lot of people. Because even right now, if you have someone who is okay at support, like they can't deal with the dive, they will still do better than someone who is only okay at DPS. Because as long as the support just heals, their numbers look good. But if a DPS just does a lot of damage or dies a lot, gets no picks, it looks really bad. So that was definitely a big problem for quite a while there. And we did have actually quite a bit of hero balance changes. I think that was more so in preparation for the upcoming seasons where they're only a month long. And so they were kind of tidying everything up, balancing everything out, so that instead of doing either a weekly or bi-weekly hero balance, it's going to be now just the one hero balance once a month, unless something is truly horrific. And I know that Phoenix and Blade are supposed to both be DPS, although that's next season. On top of that, we did get a lot of cool cosmetics, and we did get, and I forget what the events were called, they were cerebral something something. I find a lot of the events are just, hey, do some challenges and you get a skin. I wish that there was something more, and I feel like they added something a little bit more, almost like PvE, I think, that would add a lot more interest to the player base. Because at the end of the day, Marvel Rivals is just a hero shooter. It's a 6v6 hero shooter, team-based game. You're not really doing things on your own, as everything is supposed to be for the team. Part of that is the reason why the player base, you'll see a lot of talk about it, is quite dwindled. Because there was the honeymoon phase, and even for myself for a long time there, I was enamored with Marvel Rivals. I put in a ton of time on Marvel Rivals. But I think this season, Season 2, 2.5, is roughly when a lot of people kind of got out of the honeymoon phase. And now they're at a point where it's, okay, yeah, it's a hero shooter, 6v6, yada yada. You know what you get when you're playing it. And while I don't think that is a problem, there's definitely a lot of videos out there that are like, oh, is Marvel Rivals dying? Is this the end of Marvel Rivals? It's not. It's going to be around for a while, especially with the path that they are taking. I just think this last couple of months was definitely very rough for Season 2. Because there was a lot of changes, a lot of balancing, a lot of preparation for what's coming next. And it's definitely reflected from games, gameplay, things like that. I think one of the best things that they are moving towards now is that it's going to be monthly seasons over every so odd month and a half. Not that I think they really need to be pumping out update after update after update, especially if the game is good. But keeping things fresh, adding something new for people to do is going to be a really big help. Especially when these events are more so just play the game over, hey, here's a new game mode, let's do this, let's do that. Because they did add pretty interesting game modes. They had the Big Head game mode. I played a little bit of it. I thought it was fun. I wouldn't go out of my way to play it, but it was fun to do now and then. And they had the Ultron Battle Matrix, yada yada, whatever it was. I like that they tried something. Definitely not for me, but I like that they tried. They also had the tournaments that they did, although they really didn't advertise it all that great. And that there was also a little bit of drama around it. But overall, I think the Season 2 2.5 was a really good season. I like the maps that they added, the characters that they added. I like their plan moving forward. I definitely think that it was a very rough season. Definitely one of like the low light seasons, I would say. And going forward, especially if you look back at it in a couple months, a year even, probably going to be marked as like one of the worst seasons in Marvel Rivals. But I also think it's going to be one of the most important seasons. Just from what they're doing, they're prepping for the future. They did a lot of balance changes. They reworked some characters. You could argue if that was for the best or for the worst. They did the seasonal Captain America nerf. And I think for definitely quite a few people, this is the season 2 2.5. That's when their honeymoon phase ended. And the big desire to play kind of tapered off. Especially since there wasn't really anything good to play at the time that the game came out. So it came out quite literally at one of the most perfect times that it could. So your feelings on it definitely may vary, but I think actually thinking about it, this is going to be, in the end, one of the most important seasons, just because it's the preparation, it was the change, the melting pot for what they should be coming out with. And this was also the season they finally told us that they're dropping Blade, like confirmed. We've been waiting around for so long for him, although I do think it is going to be 2 DPS. But he might be a Vanguard, it's not yet confirmed, but likely DPS. I'm very interested to see what they're going to do going forward. And I think if they kind of mess things up, or this upcoming season isn't almost like a gold standard, then I really think that's going to really hurt the player base. But from what they have been trying to do, what they've been talking about, from how Season 3 looks, I think it is supposed to be very good. I also think that this season was one that really reflected, not needing to, but you should be playing counters to the enemy team. Because we had this season full of divers, we had the half season of flyers and then back to divers. Not a lot of people switched the character. In other games, if a team ran a certain comp and you didn't switch or ran a counter comp to it, you more likely than not would lose. And then there is counters to every character in the game. It's just often people don't tend to switch, or they don't know how to, at the very least, deal with what they're facing. A lot of the support players, again, I'm not saying that all of them, just a lot of them aren't the best at playing support, or they only focus on healing instead of playing a strategist. You can deal with the Spider-Man, you can deal with the BP, or at the very least live long enough or keep your other support alive long enough for help to come. But right now, a lot of people don't switch, a lot of people don't run the counters, oddly. I don't think it's going to be something that immediately changes next season. But I think soon enough, we will start to see more people start to counterpick. You know, the most common one, if the people are flying, you run Punisher or Hela. And if they're being dived, you run Namor. There's more abilities you can use, more things that people can do. This season really reflected that. And granted, not a lot of change was made in that regard. Coming up eventually, that is something that we'll start to see. Anyways, that's my thoughts on Season 2 2.5. Where do you sit with it? You think it was a bad season? You think it was the end of the times for Marvel Rivals? Are you excited for Season 3? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, hit that like button if you're still watching, subscribe for more videos like this if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the next one. YouTube thinks you like this video next? Let me know if you do.